Hello there, and welcome to our first video lesson from Chapter 1. This is Mr. Dunaway, and these notes should follow along with the notes in front of you that you picked up in class. So we're starting on page 1, and basically the idea here is anything that pops up on the screen or that you see me write on the screen, you really need to write down in your notes, just like you were taking notes in class. The nice thing is here, if I go faster than you're comfortable with, you can pause it, you can rewind it, and make sure you're comfortable with the way and the things that I'm trying to teach you. So we're going to start right away on chapter 1, here, page 1. And this is just kind of the things that we'll be covering in this lesson here. There will be several videos for each chapter, and probably in this video we'll get up through probably section 4, and I try to keep the videos limited to around 10 minutes or less so that you can have some breaks in between that hopefully will help you remember things. So we're going to start right away here. So this is kind of our introduction slide, and if you go to the next slide in the bottom of page 1, the first lesson we have here is place value, and what you'll need to do is learn all of these words here, this vocabulary here. So the first thing is we always start at the decimal point, and as we move to the left of the decimal place, that 5 is in the ones place, so you need to know that that position is the ones place, and that 2, that is in the tens place. That means 2 tens. That's why it's 20, 25, because it's 2 tens, and the 6 is in the hundreds place, and so on and so forth there for that slide. So you'll need to learn all of these words that go along with those place values. Then as we move to the next slide, here it says that we want you now to do something. 2 vocabulary words here that you need to know is standard notation and expanded notation. Okay, so when you have a number, just to randomly pick this number, that's just a number like that, that's standard notation for us. So you have a couple blanks on page 2 of your notes to fill in standard notation, and that's pretty simple to know, so you need to know that word. And then expanded notation is when we actually realize that each of those digits represents a value, a place value, and the 3 means 300 thousandths, so you can fill that in on your notes. And then if you were to add 2 10,000ths, there, that's what the 2 means, and added to that would be 7 thousandths, and then I think on the rest of those words I filled in. So you've got, I think, 3 or 4 blanks to fill in on that slide, but that is expanded notation, where we just realize how place value creates the numbers in our number system for you. So if you need to pause and write that down, please do, but I'm going to just keep on talking here. That's the beauty of the videos, is I can just keep going and you can pace yourself as needed. The next slide is a vocabulary word that if you don't know what this means, you do need to know that when we say the word sum, that means we're going to add. It's an addition problem. If I say find the sum of these 2 numbers, that means you're supposed to add them together. And on that, our first application is finding the distance around an object. It's the first thing that you'll be applying in chapter 1. And when you find the distance around an object, we call that the perimeter. You're probably familiar with that. That'd be like the fence around your yard is the perimeter, or the baseboard around a room is the perimeter of that room. So if you're asked to find the perimeter of an object, all you're doing is going to add up the distance around. Like say we had this object here, and each side is labeled. If I asked you to find the perimeter, you should know that I'm going to add those numbers. So again, since that came up on the screen, I want to write this down, and we would add these together. And in doing that, I'll show you one kind of shortcut. If I were adding these questions or these numbers here, I would take a look at these 2 numbers here. Just if you want a little mental math trick for addition, I would realize that, hey, that makes a 10 right there. And if I look at that right here, 6 and 4, that also makes a 10. So you've got 2 10s, and then you have this 9 left over. So that's one mental math trick. For me, that's a little bit easier than just trying to add the numbers straight down. like that. If I look for tens and then see if I have something left over, you might find that that's a little bit more simple than just trying to add 5 plus 9. Gee, that's 14, and 6 more. And probably you can do that, or hopefully you can, but that's just one mental math trick. Look for tens. You might find your life a little bit easier than just trying to add numbers. The next screen has this word factors there. That's an important one, and you'll want to spend a few minutes and make sure you understand that what a factor is. Factors are the numbers that are multiplied to get something else. And that's going to get a lot harder when we get into chapter 2 and 3 with fractions. But you're going to need to know that, let's say I had this problem 4 times 3, that the 4 and the 3, those are factors of 12. Those are factors of 12. Okay, 4 and 3 are factors of 12. There's other factors of 12. 6 and 2 is also a factor, but that's what a factor is. A factor is the numbers that are multiplied that might get the result of something else. Those are factors. It's an important word for you. And on the next page, you have a blank. It said blank is the result of a multiplication problem. And it says 4 times 3, and that's product. Product is the result. So 4 and 3 are the factors of 12, and 12 is the product of 4 and 3. All words there that you'll need to know there. Okay, so moving along to the next slide, then we get into one thing you have to do on the first test is to show me that you can do all the computations without a calculator, including multiplication. And I will probably spend a little bit of time in class on how to do this. But if I were going to multiply this here, we would go 6 times 3. We multiply these two numbers first. And 6 times 3 is 18. And so you see I had the 8 come up on the screen there. And then you have to carry a 1. And we typically put that over the 2. That's this 1 right here. That 1 is a 10. That's 1 10. So the 10 goes with the 2 because that's a 10. So then we multiply the 6 and the 2. And we would get 12. But you have to add that 1 back in there. Which is why we put the 3 there. And we carry that 1 right there. And then multiply the 6 and the 8. 6 and the 8 multiplied would be 48, and then you add that 1 in there, and you get 49. So there's a little review on multiplication, so you'll need to be able to do that without a calculator, but I will have a helpful multiplication table for you to help you on the first test. Hopefully ease your stress on that if you need some review on your multiplication facts. Okay, and then we get to a slide that looks like this, and if we multiply this out, we would go through several stages, and I'm probably going to review that one in class. So the result of that is 1035. But like I said, there's a couple things I want to go over in class with you to show you what's actually going on in that problem and how we can use our little table to make that easier for us. So 1035 is the answer to that question. And then before I wrap up this first video, let's look at an application of multiplication that you need to know, and that is you need to be able to find the area. And we're going to keep it pretty simple with shapes that are rectangles in this chapter. To find the area of a rectangle, you got a couple blanks to fill in here. I believe you're probably on page 6 of your notes. You're going to multiply the length times the width to find that. And when you label the area, you label them in what we call square units. So let's look at how that would work in an actual problem that you'll see on the next slide here. You have a figure that is 12 by 4. Length is 12, 4, and the width is 4. So to find the area here, you're just going to take 12 times 4. And you multiply that out, you get 48. And since the label on the picture is feet, okay, what we do is we call that 48 square feet. And one way to write that is feet is like this, feet squared. And you may wonder why is it that we do that, and I'm going to grab another color here and I'll try to show you. I'll pick, maybe blue would show up here. If you were to divide this up into squares and pretend those are straight lines, there's one, since this is 4 width, here, if you had 4 here, and then if you had 12 going across, and let's just say that was 1, and let's just pretend that if we went across, we'd have 1, 2, 3. Let's say that made up 12. that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and then 12 this way. That would be 48 squares that would make up that entire shape there. So that's why we label it square feet. Okay, well, I'm going to stop this video here. So when I'm done here, you'll want to continue with the next lesson, which begins at the bottom of page 7 there. So thank you, and we will continue in a moment.